turn up to go to that park, right after you get past
Is it 5:30?
Clough Creek, the restaurant down there.
He's ready.
Crossings?
Yeah, Clough Crossing, up in there.
Just bang it. This meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Zoning Appeals is hereby called to order. The board was established pursuant to section 513.13 of the Ohio Revised Code by the Anderson Township trustees to provide administrative relief to any person or entity adversely affected by the Anderson Township zoning resolution. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Nye.
Here.
Mr. Shekels.
Here.
Mr. Halpin.
Present.
Mr. Cyan.
Here.
Mr. Lawrence.
Here. Thank you for coming to this meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Zoning Appeals. Please be aware that this meeting is audio and videotaped and may be carried live on television. First, I will outline our procedures. Our summary of the appeal is presented by the staff. Then the appellant will present its case. The board members may then ask questions of the appellant. After that, all persons supporting the appeal will be permitted to testify, one at a time, after being recognized by the chairman. When those persons supporting the appeal are finished, those opposed to the appeal will then be permitted to testify and/or ask questions of the board after being recognized by the chairman. All persons wishing to testify, whether for or against an appeal, may only do so after being sworn in. When testifying, each person must come forward to the podium after being recognized, speak into the microphone and state their name, address, and any affiliation to the case. All persons testifying will be limited to 4 minutes unless a board member requests additional time. All testimony is given to the board only. No comments or questions are to be directed to the appellant or anyone else in the audience. The board will only hear new, non-repetitive evidence or questions. Should someone wish to show support of previous testimony, they may do so by following the testimony procedures and stating their support of previous testimony. Now, will all persons who may give testimony this evening please stand, raise your right hand, and swear or affirm? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
None from staff.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Nye.
Aye.
Mr. Shekels.
Aye.
Mr. Halpin.
Aye.
Mr. Cyan.
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence.
Aye. Are there any changes to the minutes?
Just correcting a date for the approval of the agenda. It said August 5th, and the meeting was on the 7th.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Mr. Nye.
Aye.
Mr. Shekels.
Aye.
Mr. Halpin.
Aye.
Mr. Cyan.
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence.
Aye. Please read staff summary for case number 21-2025.
Thank you, board. As we are aware, this is a continuance from last month. The location being 7321 Clough Pike, the applicant Rob Cafaro on behalf of 7321 Clough Pike LLC, the property owner. The zoning is B, and the request is a variance request for an accessory structure size 50 by 100 located in the front yard and larger than the existing primary structure, where accessory structures are required to be in the rear yard and being defined as a subordinate building per Article 5.2 A7 and Article 6.1 of the Anderson Township zoning resolution. The proposed development, as established last month, is for a detached garage size 50 by 100 and 22 feet 4 inches in height in the front yard area of the property. The applicant is also adding a 60 feet by 30 feet paved area on the south side of the structure for parking purposes. And the applicant stated they have plans to build a new residence that'll be at least 5,100 square feet. In our revised submission between our previous month's meeting and this one, you have received a new site plan kind of indicating where the primary structure is most likely to go. So kind of gives a little bit more clarity there. We went over the history last month. In January 2006, the township approved a zoning certificate for a single-family residence, approximately 4,300 square foot, 2-story house with a 14 by 20 foot covered patio and a terrace both in the side yard, and a 36 by 36 foot barn or private stable in the rear yard. In February of '06, the township approved a 4-foot, 75% open galvanized fence located in the front, side, and rear yard. In April of '06, Anderson Township approved a zoning certificate for a 36 by 46 detached barn for the keeping of horses. In November of '09, Anderson Township approved a zoning certificate through case 22, 2009 BZA for a 16-foot by 32-foot in-ground pool in the front yard with 2 conditions. That pool was not constructed, and the property was transferred to 7321 Clough Pike LLC in May of 2021. Here's the property map of the property in question. We have the aerial and the topography. Pictures are the same as last month. Property has been unchanged. And here is the additional submittal by the applicant stating examples of what the new house could look like. As well as, it's difficult to see, but this is the new site plan that was provided. Here you can see the accessory structure, the patio or the paved area, and then the future home over here as well. Yeah. And then obviously the previous month's submittal, which had everything we looked at last month, including the landscape plan, floor plan, and the written information from the applicant.
That it?
And our findings. So our findings are unchanged from last month, even with the revised submittal. Staff's of the opinion the requested variance is substantial. The proposed accessory structure is in the front yard and is significantly a lot larger than the existing principal structure. Though the principal structure is proposed to be torn down and rebuilt to exceed the size of the proposed accessory structure, it's still going to be located in the front yard area, which is a significant deviation from the zoning resolution. And we do have the revised site plan indicating where it's likely to go, but obviously it's still subject to change. But he did state that they are hoping to start construction next year for the new single-family residence. Staff's of the opinion the essential character of the neighborhood may be altered. As we talked about last month, the property is well screened by vegetation, and the applicant is proposing additional evergreen landscaping to help screen his property and provide additional privacy. There are portions of that vegetative screening that is seasonal at the moment, which would be less effective during the fall and winter months when the leaves fall. So it could be it's possible it could be viewed from Clough Pike and neighboring properties during those periods. The structure is also visually inconsistent with the area. The accessory structure would be larger than nearby houses, and it is noted that the accessory structure does meet the setback requirements for the zoning district where it's located, which may help mitigate the proximity impacts to adjacent properties. The variance would not adversely affect governmental services, and staff finds that the property owner's situation may be feasibly addressed without the variances. The current proposed location is in a flat and open area. The southern portion of the property provides space that may allow for the structure to be placed. It is noted that topography and the presence of floodplain and creek are challenges in relocating the structure, but the applicant has stated his intentions to demolish the primary structure and rebuild the primary structure. So this site is going to get reconfigured, which would allow, again, the accessory structure to be constructed within the constraints of the zoning resolution. Staff is of the opinion that the spirit intent behind the zoning resolution would not be observed by granting the variances. Again, there are some topographical challenges, and the location they're proposing, it is a suitable area topographically, and it meets setback requirements for a primary structure, but the current location of, but it could be constructed in the rear of the portion, again, when reconstructing the site itself. If it were to be approved, staff does have recommended conditions. Obviously, these would not be applicable if the board chooses to deny the application. And I'm happy to take any questions from the board, if they have any.
Any questions from the board?
Not for me.
Nope.
And then just as a note, just a reminder, as you all I'm sure are aware, the testimony we're taking on today is in relation to the new application. Obviously, all of last month's testimony is applicable, and we're just taking new testimony based off of the revised submissions.
Will the appellant or the appellant's representative please come to the podium, speak into the microphone, state your name, address, any affiliation, and present your appeal.
Rob Cafaro, 8002 Meadow Creek Drive, and I own this particular property, 7321 Clough Pike. Is that it? So as far as this continuance from last month, I would like to start with asking a question. If anybody's doing a project, would you like to save money? That's what I'm asking for here, is for you guys to allow me to save money. By doing what's set up here, I can start with doing the 50 by 100 this year and get that completed this year while I have a tenant in the house that's paying rent. And I won't have to do some additional work next year if I do it all at the same time. So that's really what I'm asking you is, will you guys please allow me to do this in the most cost-effective way? That's what I'm asking. You know, there's lots of different avenues that I can take here to accomplish what I'm laying out. You know, the 50 by 100, I can put a house there. I don't know why I can't put a detached garage there, which seems a little silly to me. But if I choose to, I can move property lines around, which I don't think any of the neighbors want. That's not what I want. That's gonna cost me more money. But very easily done to move property lines around, and I can build this without your approval. You know, I just need a kitchen, a bedroom, bathroom, and we can call it a day.
A
You know,
roof.
that-
You'll need a roof.
And a roof. And we'll need walls. We'll need walls, we'll need a floor, we need all that. So yes, my point here is I'm really asking you guys to please allow me to do this in the most cost-effective way. Current layout that you guys are seeing, with the detached garage, I just laid out one that I could very easily just move property lines around and do that. The other thing that's probably more realistic that would happen if you guys tell me no today is that I would just have to build everything all at the same time. I will build the 50 by 100 as proposed. I will build my house as proposed, and I will just connect the roof lines. Now we have a silly roof line that's just gonna cost me money, $40,000 to be exact. I've already got that quote from the builder. So it's not like this isn't gonna happen. I am begging and pleading with you guys to please allow me to do this again in the most cost-effective way, to where I don't need to put a silly breezeway, so to speak, to connect the roof line. And also start the construction where I can while I have a tenant in the house paying me money. I look at this altogether as roughly $100,000, maybe a little shy, 75 to 100,000 is probably where we're at. And like I said, I think any of us in this room, and you don't have to answer this, you would want to save money where you could. We all would. So that's really what I'm asking you guys to allow me to do. You know, there's been questions about privacy, you know, there's gonna be more than enough landscaping. That's gonna be planted, whether this fall, if you allow me to build the structure this year, I'll start this fall, because that's really when you wanna build, or that's really when you wanna plant trees and whatnot, is in the fall. So that'll either happen this fall or next fall, depending on what you guys allow me to do here. I don't know, there's multiple different ways that I can accomplish what I'm trying to do without the approval. I'm trying to play nice with everybody, especially the neighbors. Two of the neighbors that are not here, that were here last time, you know, they're on board. You know, the one guy just had a concern about fixing the driveway after construction. You know, that's gonna happen. You know, plants, trees are gonna happen. You know, one of the other topics that came up last month, that's been a discussion with those neighbors throughout these last couple weeks, is the sewer. They want access to the sewer. And I think that's why they're not here, and that's why they originally were here, because they wanted to make sure they had access to the sewer. And we all know that I'm the only one that can allow them to have access to the sewer. I don't have an issue with that. Again, I'm trying to play nice with everybody, because not playing nice is not what I want. I try to follow all the rules. I try to do what I can in the most positive manner. Today, I'm just trying to lay out some facts that kind of explains that this is going to happen with what I'm proposing. And I'm just begging and pleading that you guys please allow me to do this to where I can save some money here. And we all would save some money. And for whatever reason, this whole thing turns sideways and it doesn't happen, I'll just put a bunch of houses back there. And that's not what anybody wants here. None of the neighbors want that. I don't want that. I would like to die here. But I guess that's what I'll have to do to recoup money, sell the property, and move on. So there's a lot of things here that with what I'm doing here, I think at this point, the neighbors are on board with, at least the ones that I've spoke to a lot over the last couple of weeks. Everybody now kind of sees how this is a benefit. I am not changing the character of this area. If anything, I am preserving the area and making sure that it's not turned into a neighborhood back here. And I think everybody that has looked into this has now come to the realization that that is the most positive for everybody involved here. I think really just the only thing that I'm really just asking you guys is please allow me to do this in the most cost-effective way. I'm begging you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now take testimony from those persons who support the appeal.
Prior to that, were there any questions from the board for the appellant?
Are you going to tear down the other house when you finish with your?
Yes, sir. That is the intent as of right now.
So that'll all of a sudden become green space, if you will?
So yes. So as I stated last month, and I'll state it again, the current barn that's there.
That'll stay.
Yeah, I was trying to wait for the picture there. The current barn that's, if you're able to go to a colored picture there that shows the current, this might make it a little easier. I like pictures. All right, that's fine. So Yeah, okay, so pretty much, so do you see the current house now?
Yeah.
See to the left, you see a line that goes up and down, right there, that's a fence, right there, perfect. So basically from there to the gravel lot, that's where everything will take place with new construction. The 50 by 100 will take up about 2/3 of that area. There'll be a bit of an apron, and then there'll be the house with house stuff, or maybe a swimming pool, I don't, maybe, maybe not. And then right about where that line is there's a private culvert, and I'm not building anything over on top of that because you can't, so I'm trying to keep everything on the left of that. Everything on the right of that, where the current house is, that gets torn down, that's just one big grassy field. And then the barn will stay, because the intent, again, is to get a horse. So therefore, that horse will have a nice little pasture, so to speak, in that green area, where the current house is. Does that answer the question?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Nope. Is there anyone that would like to speak against? There we go. Were you sworn in, sir?
I was.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Guy Wolf. I live at 6001 Stirrup Road in Turpin Hills. And my interest in this decision is one of the points that I'll cover tonight. I urge you to deny the requested variance for two key reasons. One is it directly contradicts our zoning code, and it sets a troubling precedent. First, the zoning restrictions were clear at the time of purchase. The owner purchased this property knowing that the zoning prohibits garages in front of the primary structure and limits their size. A change in the owner's personal vision after the fact does not warrant an exception. If a family outgrows their home, the solution is not to build in violation of our zoning code. It's for them to go find a house that better fits their needs. Second, personal urgency is not a zoning hardship. The owner's timeline or desire for immediate approval is not the township's concern. Zoning exists to protect the character and consistency of the neighborhood, not to accommodate individual project sequencing. Third, this variance would materially alter neighborhood character. Even if no neighbors appear tonight, the board has a responsibility to uphold the zoning code on behalf of all residents. The staff report rightly notes that placing a large garage in front of the home will significantly change the feel of the neighborhood, undermining established design norms. Fourth, future use and enforcement are unpredictable. Even if the owner promises to screen the structure with landscaping or to limit its use, those promises are not enforceable long-term. A subsequent owner may choose to remove the trees or convert the garage, particularly if it is plumbed, into an accessory dwelling unit, resulting in a de facto multi-unit use within a single-family zone. Fifth, there is no practical difficulty or unique hardship. This is not a case where strict enforcement of the code deprives the owner of reasonable use. He retains full ability to construct a garage compliant with the zoning standards, just not in the front yard and not larger than the primary residence. Sixth, this approval would set a dangerous precedent. Our own property and several of our neighbors' properties have steep rear yards that would make construction there expensive and inconvenient. On the other hand, we have large front yards, which are much more topographically appropriate for construction, and we could still fit structures in there with the setback from the road. A variance granted here would invite future applications from others, us included, using this case as justification. One exception risks becoming the new rule. Concluding, I am grateful that this property owner is respectful of the township's zoning, and I'm certain that he can create something that serves his purpose within the current zoning code. Granting this variance would reward convenience over community standards and preferences over precedent. I respectfully ask this board to uphold the zoning ordinance and deny the application. Thank you very much.
Would the appellant like to rebut?
So, in my opinion, this has to be one of the most unique pieces of property in Anderson Township. I can tell you when I bought this, and still to this day, people that I talk to, my friends to random people as of late, they never even knew this property was there. That's how protected it is with natural greenery as it is. You can't see it from the street. You can hardly see it in the wintertime. Hardly. And to consider this a neighborhood, if that's the word we want to use, that's fine. This is not in a neighborhood setting. This piece of property is so unique, and that's why I'm asking, that's why I'm trying to do, this is a unique situation. It is. This is not standard for Anderson Township. You don't have a lot of this that's in Anderson. And it's not in a neighborhood setting, that's for sure. So again, I'm begging and pleading to you guys on the board to please allow me to do this in the most cost-effective way, because whether anybody likes it or not, it is going to happen. And that's not me trying to puff my chest. That's the last thing I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to puff my chest. There is current zoning regulations that do allow me to do this all at the same time. Again, all I gotta do is connect the roof line. That's all I gotta do, and that's done. It's a done deal. Again, begging and pleading you guys, please allow me to get started on this in the most cost-effective way so I can please accomplish at least that 50 by 100 this fall. And right now, that's even questionable. I pretty much have to call my guy tomorrow. I'm like, man, you guys, please get this done for me if I get accepted. So it's even a question at this point if I can even get it completed. But I am begging and pleading because it will happen come springtime or next summer at some point. There's lots of different ways to make this happen. And I'm just trying to play nice with everybody. I want to do it the right way because I don't want to upset anybody. That's why I'm here, honest to God. Please allow me to do this the most cost-effective way. Please.
Before you sit down, we talked last time about the landscaping plan, and you said you'd be happy to provide additional landscaping at the time. You didn't submit a new landscaping plan, and we didn't necessarily ask you to, which is fine. But if we approve this and we add additional conditions about more extensive landscaping, you'd have no opposition to that, is my understanding. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
I like things green, so anything that plugs holes in the wintertime. If I have to remove a tree, for an example, that may be in the way because there's visibility in the wintertime, I will remove that and place an arborvitae, something that stays green all year round. Everything that I plant will stay green all year round.
Any other questions?
And currently, if you've been to the property, currently you can tell that certainly in the summertime, it's even from Clough, if you were just standing on the road, you can't see in there at all. And in the wintertime, it's as is, you can hardly see in there, because trust me, when I drive by in the wintertime, I trust my property, I try to look in there. So, yes.
What's the height of the accessory building? Do you remember?
22,
Okay.
and really the whole, what's that? Yeah, it should be listed there, 22 point
Is it
something
on the
or whatever.
Is it on the drawing or something?
And the whole reason for the height is I'm
Yeah, there
making
it is.
it
Yep.
just tall enough to be able to fit a big RV in there. You
Yeah,
have to have
I understand,
16.
I understand the dimensioning and why it is. So,
I got you.
okay.
We good?
I think so. Would you like to say something?
Thank you.
Come to the podium.
Just real quickly, I know the gentleman talked about precedence. Well, the property had already gone through a variance for a pool, which would have ended up being in the front yard. So if precedence was already set, then why isn't everybody asking for pools in the front yard? Because that's not really how it works. Each case is unique, and this is a unique case, and it's a unique property. So I don't, get into the, well, because they approved the pool in the front yard on this property, that everybody gets a pool in the front yard now. It doesn't really work that way. So I just wanted to point that out.
Were you sworn in?
I have not been, I just arrived because I had to come.
Do you have something to say?
Yes.
Okay. Stand up and raise your right hand, please.
You can-
Or come to the podium.
Sir?
You can step forward to the podium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yeah, goddess, yeah.
State your name and address, please.
I'm Veronica Har, and I live at 7281 Clough Pike.
Okay.
So I live just across the creek.
Across the street?
Creek.
Okay. Across the street?
No, across the creek.
Across the creek.
So Clough Pike converges,
Yeah,
or Clough Creek, I'm sorry, converges right in front of our property.
okay.
So there's two portions
Okay,
of the
all
creek
right.
that converge right in front
Is
of our
that,
property.
yeah, okay, that's right.
Yes, so there.
That's right, okay.
So, my late sister, speaking of people that wanted to have a forever home, passed in this house where we live. She found that property for us. It was like finding a magical place to be able to come home and sit in our yard and be able to commune with nature after long, stressful days. I actually have studied forestry and fish and wildlife, and I have observed over 110 different species of wildlife, including protected animals under the Migratory Bird Act. There's been at least 82 species of bird within that area. 6 birds of prey that have nested and hunted there. So nesting birds of prey are protected under the Migratory Bird Act. The pine trees that are in the middle of your pasture have had nesting birds 4 out of the past 5 years in them. And so those things are all protected under the Migratory Bird Act, so that also becomes a thing that if you're changing the structure of the property, you're changing the structure of where they live and the ecosystem that they live in. It is recommended generally around waterways that you have 80 to 160 feet of coverage from the edge of the waterway to the grass, honestly, and that you don't have like mowing right to the edge of property. In some cases that happens, in some cases it doesn't. But a row of arborvitae is not gonna change that. And then the additional thing is, I personally just don't wanna look out my back window and see a big flat piece of structure that wasn't there when I moved in and wasn't going to be there when I moved in. So those are things that I think about when I come home at night, and now that I've learned that this is the plan. I also additionally don't want 6 more houses built back there. Like, I don't want that to become the other option that it seems to be threatening. If we don't do this, we'll just build houses instead. It seems kind of like it's a leverage thing, and that just doesn't feel appropriate. And especially for the community and the part of the neighborhood. Anderson is unique that it has so much green space and has invested in its green space. And I think they value it. So I think changing that space will change the conditions of the ecosystem in that area. And we won't have 110 species of animals and insects and so forth, if that changes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Would you like to rebut?
I respect preserving the nature. I do. I 100% do. That's exactly why I want to put more trees. You know, privacy. You know, I'm sure there was some species that were in the area that your current house is. So, I mean, it's just progression. It's progression in life. We all build houses, and you know, that's. I'm sorry that I'm trying to build my house and into my heaven. I'm trying to preserve this the best I can.
Hey, Rob, you need to address the board, not the.
Okay, all right. Well, I just, you know, that's pretty much it. I just am trying to do the best I can by all the neighbors. Planting trees should help. You know, I'm sure there was trees wherever her house is. I'm sure there was a lot of trees there also. So it's kind of a moot point, but I'm doing the best I can to preserve that area. I really am.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll close the public hearing on case 21-2025.
Move to close.
Discuss. Or do you have questions?
He moved to close, I'll second the motion. You need to have the motion.
You're good. Did Jeff, you motioned? Sign, you were that second? Okay.
Mr. Shekels,
Aye.
Mr. Halpin,
Aye.
Mr. Cyan,
Aye.
Mr. Nye,
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence.
Aye. Who wants to start?
Jeff, at the end of the meeting, your big issue was having a plan that would reflect where the residence was gonna go. So I'm gonna defer to you because that was your major issue last time.
I don't know that it was necessarily my major issue. I think it was an important component of our understanding of all of the issues, how substantial it is, and, you know, all those sorts of things. I appreciate that if this were one very large structure, it would be permitted. I think that's correct, right? If this were an attached garage, essentially, it would be permitted.
If it was attached to the primary structure, then yes.
Yeah, right, it would be permitted. I appreciate that. That also is not what they're proposing, and it does seem like it would alter the character of the neighborhood to me. Whether the variance is substantial, there's two variances here, right? There's the front yard variance, and there's the size of the accessory structure larger than the primary structure, because the current primary structure is this house that's, I don't know the square footage, it's
4,000.
4,000 some. I think the size is less of an issue to me, especially since the proposal does include building a larger, primary structure. I don't know. I mean, I think this is a close call, and I'm kind of on the fence about it. I'd like to hear what everyone else says. It is a large garage in the front yard. I appreciate that it's set back from the road to the extent that a principal structure would be required to be set back. The side property setbacks are, acceptable. He is right. If he made that a home, it would be permitted. But it doesn't look like a home. It doesn't feel like a home. So I don't know. I mean, I'm struggling a little bit with this one. I appreciate that, the neighbors don't have a right to tell him what he can do with his property, but they do have a right to expect that the zoning laws are enforced, and that a variance is only granted in accordance with the standards to be considered. I'm kind of on the fence as to whether they're satisfied here. So there's a guy who grants a whole lot of variances, or votes to grant a whole lot of variances. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
Well, I've probably lived here as long, if not longer, than anybody, and have since the early 70s. Okay, and as many times as I've driven up Clough Pike, I've never noticed this building pad down there. So this was all new information to me. Sort of surprised me. Okay. And that says something to me, you know, the fact that I didn't even know it was down there. So the visual impact is something that I don't think is substantial, provided we put conditions on it regarding vegetation and the vegetation also being maintained, those kind of things, such as the staff recommendation A, and I would add the word and maintained to that. He is right, and I guess, and we've confirmed that if he put a breezeway between these two buildings, he wouldn't even have to come to us, right?
Technically, that is correct.
Yeah, he could just do it anyway. And we don't, as a group, make broad, general, so the conversation earlier in this discussion was that if we make this decision, it's going to impact every decision down the road, and that's not the case, and it's not the law, and it's not the way we operate. We operate each individual exception is treated as a completely individual exception regardless of anything else in the community.
Yeah, I agree with that. Variances do not have precedential value. That's
Yeah.
correct.
So I'm struggling with this one as well. The thing that keeps going back in my mind, though, is you've driven past this thing for 50 years and didn't even know it was there. And, you know, he does have another alternative, which could just bypass all of us and put a connector between the two buildings. It cost him more money, or he could redesign it, you know. That's up to him and his architect and his wallet, but anything we do regarding vegetation would have to be submitted to the township for approval prior to granting, as far as plantings and that, and they all need to have the word maintained in them. And by maintained, as we've always said, if a 30-foot tree dies, the expectation is we're not planting a 30-foot tree back in, but we're putting a similar tree in, you know, a maple tree for a maple tree kind of deal. So, well, I would, in a typical subdivision, anywhere else in the township, I would definitely vote against this. It's the location that is sort of causing me to consider this seriously. Others?
Definitely unique piece of property in the township, and like you, I mean, you could drive by it 100 times and never know it's there. But my thinking is this: if we don't approve it, and he builds it all as one, you're going from a 100-foot building from end to end, and then you're adding a 60-foot cover, and then you're adding a 40-foot house. Then you're looking at 200 feet of building in your backyard, unbroken. And I'm not sure which is better, but I mean, I think it's kind of the lesser of the evil, of the two evils. And, you know, you're not going to see it from Clough, that's for sure, given it's 80 feet off the road through woods. And nothing from the back either. And you got the bike path on the other side. So I'm more leaning towards it than against it.
Could you pull up the conditions that staff has proposed?
I believe we need to insert maintained as well and all that.
We've looked at some of these cases in the past too, some somewhat similar, I should say, in that where there's some, like in this case, he could do it if he wanted to, just in a different way. And we've had some similar in the past. I don't recall the exact fact patterns, but I know if we've done something.
Oops, I apologize. Good news, it was potential spam.
Is that a phone a friend calling us in? So yeah, we've done this. Well, we've kind of dealt with this in the past, where we've had cases where they could have went about it another way, and then we've approved it, just to kind of say, okay, yeah, you can go about it another way. And then to Mr. Lawrence's point, we're also kind of looking at the overall structure. Like if we go with this way, we're reducing the roof footprint. It sounds like a lot of us are on the fence. Maybe we need to. And I'm comfortable with these recommendations here, and then comfortable with Mr. Sheckel's proposed addition to the number 1.
I'd also probably include that the existing vegetation is shown on whatever plan sheet this is, dated 9/18/09, submitted with this thing, that those be maintained as well. And anything damaged during the course of construction be replaced with like.
I'll make a motion that we approve case 21-2025.
We've heard from John, right? John? I don't have a real problem with it. My only question would be, could it be pushed back further? I mean, the original house is way back there. Is there elevations or reasons why it can't come back, pushed back further?
He wants to put it there because on a solid foundation from the previous riding arena.
Yeah.
From the horses.
That's a flat plateau there.
Oh, as opposed to the back,
Yeah.
further
Yes.
back, it's
Right.
not.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't have a problem with it.
Jimmy?
I'm still really on the fence about it. I mean, I guess I should say I agree with the guy in the red shirt back there. Mr. Wolf, I think. He said something like, we don't, the budget of the project is not a zoning matter. I agree with that. The sense of urgency is not a zoning matter. I agree with that. Those are all things that I'm giving essentially no consideration to in this.
And we never have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Never have, yeah.
yeah. I mean, so I guess I just wanted to say that to the room as much as anything. I'm still really on the fence. It does seem substantial to me. Again, I appreciate that it can be done a different way. I think in the past where we've run into some scenarios where we thought, well, it's a little silly. We're elevating form over substance in some of these. The ones I can think of were the size that I can think of were exclusively the size of an accessory structure, where it can make up a certain amount of the required rear yard or something like that. And it was slightly larger, and we said, well, you could just build 2 sheds instead of 1 shed, and this feels like qualitatively different to me. Because this is a very large shed, garage, whatever, in the front. And it is going to be the dominant feature of this parcel when it's done. I think even after a new house is built behind it, and that house becomes the primary structure, both in terms of its use and in terms of its size, the physically dominant feature of this parcel is going to be this garage. That makes it somewhat different to me. And for that reason, I think my ultimate conclusion is that the variance is substantial. Character of the neighborhood, you don't see it from the road, that's true. It only affects a small number of houses, that's true. But it is singularly unlike any other home or use in the neighborhood.
It's very, probably in the township,
Yeah.
but it's down so far that, again.
That's not the test. The test isn't whether you can see it from the road. The test isn't whether, the test is, does it change the essential character of the neighborhood, right? Will the essential character of the neighborhood be substantially altered? And it certainly is substantially different from the other places in the neighborhood. Whether that alone substantially alters the character of the neighborhood, I mean, I think it's a close call. Will the adjoining property suffer a substantial detriment as a result of it? They're certainly going to suffer a detriment to have this large thing next to them that isn't supposed to be there. Is it a substantial detriment? I mean, I think that's a close call. I think, certainly the neighbors on the west side of the creek think the answer is yes. Neighbors on the east seem to think less so. We heard from, the two neighbors there last time. The one guy was just concerned about the driveway. The other guy, who was the one closest to it, said, well, I'm not crazy about it. Maybe it could be shielded, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I think it's just a really close call. I'm just really kind of torn about it. I don't know. I kind of had the sense that there were 3 votes to grant, and so, don't let me hold you up if there are. But I personally am on the fence about it. But Paul, you looked like you were going to make a motion, so I don't want to.
No, I'm just listening.
This Paul was.
Oh, okay. The other Paul. Would you want to go with your proposed motion, or?
Do we have any further discussion? We'll make the motion and see where it goes. Mr. Chair, with regards to case 21-2025 BZA, we had, there were 2 variances in this one?
Correct, yes.
I move that we approve both variances, require the conditions that staff recommended, 1 through 3, editing number 1, that the evergreen, that the vegetation be maintained on an ongoing basis.
And that it be approved, the vegetation plan for the rest of it be approved by township zoning as part of that.
I agree with that. And then in compliance with the plan submitted,
It's 9/18/09 is annotated for this hearing.
9/18, wait.
I think
Oh,
it's
09.
August, there's an August 14th.
Oh, you got a stamp on it. I was looking at the original plan date, not the date of received, because received on August 13th, 2025. Yeah.
And then whatever the dates we received, there was some vegetation plans, stuff from the initial packet. I would include that as well.
I'll second the motion. Oh, start within?
Started in 1 year, completed within 2 years.
Given the scope of the project, did you want to shift it, or do you want to stick with that?
we
as-
would
Completed within 3.
Well, let's look at the Cs.
This relates to
If-
the garage, right?
That's
Yeah.
true, yep.
And he's
Yeah.
proposing to start it within a week, it's, within,
Yeah.
months. I don't think he
1
needs
and
3
2.
years to do it.
Yeah, let's stick with the 1
Keep
and
1,
2
1, 2.
standard.
That's fine, yeah.
Yep.
Is your second, Stan?
Second.
Mr. Shekels,
Aye.
Mr. Halpin,
Aye.
Mr. Cyan,
Aye.
Mr. Nye,
Nay.
Mr. Lawrence.
Aye.
Being in contact with next steps? Motion to adjourn? Journal section.
Motion to adjourn?
No, journalization.
Journal? Journal.
Oh, we got to journalize first, don't we? Yeah.
No, it's just adjourn.
Okay.
We will need a second to journalize.
You said you will or you won't? You will?
Second.
I hope you don't have to do this to me. It's done. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Are we going to vote on it? Sure.
Mr. Stein, second. Or Mr. He seconded.
We're still journalizing.
Then what are we seconding?
I don't know. You said you had the motion to
I said-
journalize.
No, I said I needed a second, as in like,
Oh,
I
okay, you
needed a
said you
moment in
needed a
time.
second. I thought you were talking about journalizing. That's what I thought.
I was not looking for a motion in second. My apologies.
I was confused.
So was I.
What's he want a second for? You needed,
I thought you were motioning to journalize, that's why.
you needed a minute, not a second.
So I would appreciate if you read it before you seconded it. That was 21. All right. And should be ready for you guys whenever you're ready.
We would say it was not, the variance could be, is not substantial, we would have to say.
Could be not substantial.
Is not substantial. And you could just scratch the rest of that.
We will need some justification, I think, for some of these.
Not substantial based on the topography, if you want to.
Okay.
And uniqueness of the property?
Site and the uniqueness, yes. Nice catch.
Great. Second.
Okay. 2, I think, is good. 3.
No. Straight.
4. We could say, the owner's predicament may be, he could build one structure and connect it. That was the other option. So let's address that there. Property owner, attach the structure, period, attach the structure to the
primary structure.
to the primary structure, yep. Would be observed.
We need to go ahead and straight probably all of that.
I think that one's, you can just leave in place the rest of it.
Leave it?
Well,
Or
what's,
just
well, the
start at
proposed
given?
location is top.
I could just start at given.
Probably want to take out while.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
For number 4, feel free to disregard what I'm saying, but I think it might be helpful to add something saying why the proposed plan is, or just saying the proposed plan is something. I feel like it's like we're granting it, but then there's
To the proposed primary structure. Do it that way.
He's adding some. I'm sorry, Eli, can you go over that again?
like I think adding a sentence or something onto that second
Yeah,
sentence.
to the
saying
primary
that-
structure. He could do it, I mean, even if that primary structure was 500 feet away, as long as he built a breezeway.
I don't think you're following. He's adding another sentence to our,
Well, I think explaining why that sentence,
you're adding some rationale in there, which I
yeah.
understand.
Yeah, okay.
explaining why the sentence that you added
All right,
justifies granting
okay.
the appeal and falls under the standards, that's
All
kind
right.
of what I'm saying. But if you don't feel like it's needed, then you're the board. So.
You okay with that?
I mean, essentially,
Jeff, you're the attorney here.
well, I would have voted against it. So
So you gotta
I
work
think,
both
I
sides.
think what I was saying, like what I said before, to force him to do that seems like it would be elevating form over substance.
Yeah.
I think is the point he's trying to make. You know? So maybe just simply put that in there, comma, but, you know, primary structure, comma, but, you know, that's, the board concludes that it's elevating form over substance, if that's what you think.
Yeah, basically, because he was gonna do it. He'd already told us he was going to.
He may have, I don't know.
Is
Well, that's the only way he can get it done.
elevating, wait, but the what?
But doing so, you know, but requiring him to do so,
Hold on, but the blank
But,
is
no.
elevating form over
no,
substance.
but requiring him to do that elevates form over substance.
But requiring him to do that.
Is elevating form, is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Are we satisfied with 4 and 5?
Yep, fine with 5.
I'd scratch the however on on 5.
Scratch, however.
Wait a second. Given the current location of the house.
Either that or put a comma before it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
comma,
that means-
Yeah,
Big,
yeah,
are we satisfied with?
yeah.
Cool. And then there's the conditions.
The date needs to change for the first one.
Oh, that was July 17th, I believe.
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
Look at that memory. Who said it's going?
And then planted and maintained, number 3.
And maintain.
Was the requirement that existing vegetation be substantially
I
maintained?
added that in there too, yes. Well, let's take care of this one first. Okay. Well, then just give us a 6, that referencing the plan submitted. I already put theirs away. Dang it, I'll get mine out.
And they including existing.
That's the original one.
Referring to like the landscaping plan?
No, yeah, here's what I want.
vegetation
Okay.
on
The existing vegetation as shown on that plan, reference that plan.
That's the August 13th plan, the new plan?
Yeah, shall be maintained. And replaced as necessary.
Oh, no. It froze. There we go.
Existing vegetation,
The site plan dated received,
you know,
It was dated received.
dated received.
I can say
Sound-
received.
It is kind of dated. Let's say received.
or
Stamped received.
replaced if damaged,
Being preserved or,
or replaced if damaged.
well, I could say or damaged vegetation be replaced with like vegetation.
However you want to word that, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So we're not saying you have to replace like for like.
Okay,
What, that damaged
the
vegetation
rest should just be standard verbiage.
be replaced with like vegetation.
Yeah.
Did I say vegetation enough?
Yep,
Yeah.
Okay.
we said vegetation enough times.
Vegetation.
One more.
Pre-vegetation.
Get one more in there.
It's enough.
Let's
Mr. Chair, with regards to case 21-2025 BZA, move that we approve and journalize.
Second.
Mr. Shekel,
Aye.
Mr. Halpin,
Aye.
Mr. Sion,
Aye.
Mr. Nye,
Nay.
Mr. Lawrence.
Aye.
So,
Motion
this
to
gets
adjourn.
back though, you can approve this because you're just approving the language of this. You've already voted against it.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
vote.
Motion made.
Move to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Second.
Unanimous.
Okay.
You don't need to call roll for that, right?
But I was told that